Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris, Small Circle. Got a special guest with me today, Mr. Matt Gray. He will be running for your Precinct 4 Commissioner. But not only that, he is a concerned citizen and a proud father. And I dare not call him a politician. That's a bad word around here. How you doing, Matt?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me on tonight.
Man, I'm glad. I know you're busy. You got everything going, a lot of stuff going on or whatever. I'm glad you made the time, man.
Hey, man, we're running wide open. We're stretched thin over in the Gray household, but I can always make time for another New Caney alum.
Yes, for sure. For those that don't know, this is a New Caney alum. What year did you graduate?
2001.
2001. Okay, and then I know a lot of people probably already know your background, but we're gonna run through it one more time if you don't mind.
Happy to.
Listen, you're born and raised here, right?
Yes, sir.
Peach Creek. Am I right?
Peach Creek. Grew up on Casey Ridge.
Casey Ridge. Okay, and then whatever. Graduated high school. You went to Sam
Houston State University. Yes,
okay,
sir.
Sam Houston, right? Okay, and then you did graduated there. Roustabout.
Yep. So I graduated from Sam Houston. Went into oil and gas, working on the drilling contractor side.
Yeah.
Started off at the bottom. I worked my way up from the bottom to the top instead of trying to go the office route. I wanted to be the hands-on guy. Yeah, I started out as a roustabout, roughnecked, worked derricks.
So you're no stranger to hard work at all.
Oh no.
Okay.
I was pipe fitter helper before that, and whatever I had to do,
Sure. Yeah.
That strong work ethic was instilled by my parents and their parents and generations from.
I know that I as you know, I did my research already, but you did a podcast or whatever. What you say, third, fourth generation?
I'm an 8th generation Texan, so that puts my namesake somewhere around the Alamo, the Texas Revolution, around that time.
No shit.
Where my namesake got into Texas.
Yeah.
Now, as far as East Montgomery County, that was my mother's side that came and settled here in the late 1880s.
Yeah.
Early 1890s. So we've been here for quite some time.
Yeah. So you like Yellowstone status.
Yeah, Yellowstone status. We've been here a while. So
You've been here a minute, man.
I'm proud of it, and I love it. And
right on.
It all ties in.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, well, like I said before, he's running for commissioner, precinct 4. I see that you're endorsed by a few people, but the one I wanted to mention the most was Ed Reinhardt, man. I've been a friend of Ed Reinhardt. He's been a long friend of my dad's. A big pillar of this community. If you start asking people that's been here around as long as we have, you talk Ed Reinhardt, I mean, that's just a stand-up dude. You know what I mean? He's just really, really cool guy. And for you to be endorsed by him, that has to talk volumes, speaks volumes. You know what I mean? So
Ed Reinhardt's the longest-serving commissioner we ever had in Precinct 4.
Yes, sir.
Ed served 4 terms, 16 years. Big Ed.
Yeah, he's done great things out here too, which you can see.
Ed got a lot done.
Yes.
And if your kids ever played baseball, softball, or any of that, they play over at Ed Reinhardt Park, right there near Bull Silas Park. So
it sure does. And man, he's a great guy. He'd do anything for you. You know what I mean? Even when he was commissioner, you run into him at Walmart or somewhere or whatever. If you had an issue, he always had time for you.
That's right.
Not like, hey, get with my assistant or hey this and all that stuff like that. And he had a real open door policy. Like you could go into the over there by the county barn over there or whatever, and just walk right in. And if he's there, but hey, come on in, take a seat. And
I miss that personally. We don't have that anymore.
Right.
And one of the things I've been saying on this run is when I get in the office, when you walk in now, you're met with plexiglass.
Right. Yeah.
And it's almost like you're going somewhere you don't want to be, or you're not very welcome. So anyway, I'm going to spend some of our money, and we're going to remove that plexiglass and that. We're going to make it a little more welcoming to the public for you to come in and talk with me, the commissioner, my staff, if I'm not there. Air out your grievances, tell us what a great job we're doing, whatever the case is. Put in your work order and get it done. Just like it should be, like when Ed when Ed was running it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be welcoming. And currently, it's a big issue with me, but they're only operating on a 4-day work week. And
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know anybody successful that runs a 4-day-a-week operation in any kind of construction capacity, the current county capacity. I guess what I'm getting at is I'll be opening it back up to 5 days a week, and we're gonna make things happen around here.
Yeah, especially with the growth that's coming out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, nobody should really be working, you know, 4 days a week.
It's no time to be part-time, guys. You
Yeah.
got a full-time commissioner with me and a full-time staff.
Right on, man. Well, that's good. That's cool. I guess for those that don't know, I'm so tired of saying that. Anyway, explain what a commissioner is and what it does, or what a commissioner does. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, they'll get mixed up. They'll see a street light out in their neighborhood or something, and they're like, "Oh, do I call the commissioner for that? I don't know."
Sure.
You know, so to kind of give them a background on a commissioner and what he is and what he does, what they do.
So your commissioner takes care of your local roads. You got state roads, 1314, 1485, 242, 494, 2090, 105. Those are state roads maintained by the state, TxDOT, whatnot.
Okay.
And we'll work with TxDOT or the state or whoever on those type of projects to get lights or get those widened, whatever the case is. And we need a lot of help on the state roads, by the way, and I plan on taking that on full force. But anyway, so the commissioner takes care of the local roads, your Sorters Road, your Gene Campbell, your Hillendale and Splendora, your Daw Collins, your Tamina Road, all these, they're big thoroughfares, but those are local roads and in your neighborhoods. So they're over that. The drainage, boy.
Well, you being from Casey's Ridge, I mean, that's always kind of been a problem once a heavy storm comes in. But now it seems like just a little rain comes through and it's just a mess.
Where I grew up, when we get a heavy rain, you were flooded in because the river was across the road, and then you had Peach Creek and Caney Creek. That was way before they built up 1485 and the tall bridge and built the road up. So, it's low over here. This is I always say it's a swamp, but it's our swamp, and we love it.
Right.
So we're gonna do what we got to do to get the water draining off where it needs to drain off. And I'd like to talk some more about the drainage, but I'll try to stay on track here.
Yeah, for sure.
Local roads, repairing potholes, retopping roads, new roads, taking care of that drainage. You get a new house, setting the culverts. County come out and does that for you. They do mosquito abatement, take care of your parks, your local parks. Splendora here, your Ed Reinhardt Park, Bull Silas Park. And they sit on Commissioner's Court and they vote on revenue tax and big issues and big expenditures in the county budget. So it's you're representing this whole portion of the county. The county's made up of 4 precincts: precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're 4, and you sit on there with the other 3 commissioners and the county judge. That's the part you don't hear about a whole lot. You've got a monthly commissioner's court. You go sit on over in Conroe, and that's a very big piece of it. And as commissioner, my goal is to be the more conservative voice, more conservative in the financial respect on how we spend as a county and what we do, and like I say, the taxes and where we're at on that.
Yeah.
Everything's through the roof right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I heard you mention about the school taxes. Like those are maxed out. Like they can't up those anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll probably stay that way in this district in New Caney ISD until we're built all the way out. They'll do their passive studies, and forecast the growth out here, which we should be built out in about 6 months at the rate I'm seeing us grow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
That's a joke, by the way, but it's developing very fast.
Yeah.
So
like, okay, if you don't mind me asking, it's like, what was the last straw? Like, what broke the camel's back? You know what I mean? It was like, you know what? That's it. I'm running for commissioner.
So in 2015, Montgomery County passed a $280 million bond.
Okay.
$68 million came over to precinct 4. We got the second highest amount. So $68 million to work with the state on 242, to fix Gene Campbell, to widen that out, do Community Drive, to widen Sorters Road, to do Ford Road, and I know I'm missing one or two off the top of my head.
I know they're doing work on Old Houston. Is that you too?
Old Houston,
Or is
yeah,
that
yeah, the north side of Old Houston,
Yeah, right, yeah.
And
It's other ones, but like, you know, you got your main vein, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, 1485, 1314, all that or whatever, but there's smaller, busy roads that need to
those
be.
roads that back up. Anyway, we passed this bond. We got $68 million in 2015, and it's 2022, right? That's 7 years if my math's correct.
Yeah,
So that's $68 million, 7 years, incomplete projects.
right.
I got a project
Still,
management.
right.
Yeah, still, I got a project management background. Do you think those jobs to do those roads and get that work done is still the same as when it was forecasted or planned or budgeted in 2015, 7 years ago, with where our economy's at now and inflation?
Right.
Where's that money? Is there even enough money left to finish it? How many times have we heard about Ford Road or 105? That was another one that was mentioned. So, you know, that really got me, you know, and then the decision that I saw made on some of the projects to pursue with this administration, instead of taking care of the big projects when we've got all this money sitting here and taking care of what we voted on and said we were going to take care of, and that's not a priority. That was a tipping point for me.
Yeah.
There are other things, obviously, that
Sure.
I just see that I know I could do better or manage more effectively, like the 4-day work week. You start looking at how many, you know, folks don't see stuff like this, or you wouldn't know unless you were paying close attention, just the amount of money that is spent on these vehicles, the
Right.
county vehicles. We got loaded out F-250s, off-road packages, off-road tires, for the Parks Department, for example. Why?
Right.
When I'm your commissioner, my plan is to auction those back off. Not only do they have these vehicles like this, all the front office people, secretaries, and women in the office, and men that aren't out in the field or like supervisors are on call, are driving these vehicles home every night.
Yeah.
You know who's paying for that maintenance and that fuel and those tires, and the insurance is covered through the county, but it has to be budgeted for? You
Right.
and me
Yeah.
and you.
Yeah.
We're paying for that. That's a lot of money. And
I can barely afford my gas. I don't need to be paying for nobody else's, you know what I mean?
you know, it's a lot of money to get a big old souped up F-250.
Yeah,
with
I
some
want one
tires.
of those. Shit.
You and me both.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, you know, so we're paying for that. That rubbed me the wrong way. That just doesn't seem like the kind of financial management or the decisions that I appreciate. So that kind of encouraged me. We hadn't seen a whole lot of roads being done. Well, we're paying a bunch of salaries out of our road and bridge fund. We're paying for a lot of that vehicle out of road and bridge fund. I doubt it's okay with you. It's not okay with me.
Yeah.
So I think that money needs to be applied for what it was designated for, laying blacktop
Yeah.
in roads. And if it's going to be pulled out of there, it needs to be applied to drainage or something else, or some kind of something with the mobility or drainage, not to salaries or trucks that go home every night.
Right.
So
it kind of seems to me that like you definitely have the background, and you probably need somebody in there like a project manager that can budget each money, you know, account for every bit of the money and make sure it goes to the proper place.
absolutely, they're paying some healthy salaries up there.
Yeah.
And with that kind of salary, you can expect I'm going to have some hard hitters in the seats.
Yeah.
And a team that I mesh with, and that we're tackling big problems and transparent on and can communicate about. You know, that's what I appreciate. That's what I expect. And in any role I've ever had, when I've got a budget, I don't just get a budget and say, well, this is my budget. We can kind of do this. You got to forecast it.
Yeah.
You know, I got to go get quotes and plan my year and show what I'm spending money on and have these meetings and be accountable to the public, to the taxpayer,
right.
you know. So,
Which you kind of are like, probably on a smaller scale, but you already kind of do that already, right? With Humble ISD, you know,
Yes,
I'm sure
sir.
there's, you know, stuff you have to, you know, show people and be like, hey, look, this is here, this is what I plan here, get estimates and stuff like that or whatever.
Absolutely.
So it'd probably kind of be an easy transition for you. Not saying it's going to be easy, but, you know, just you be on a much larger scale.
Oh, it'll absolutely be a challenge. I expect nothing less.
Yeah.
And it'll take a while to get it sorted and running how I want it running, and how it needs to be ran. But we'll get it there. And with the background, the oil and gas, and the high pressure situations, the high pressure jobs,
Yeah.
the budgeting, the capital projects and capital outlay that I've dealt with, all that type of stuff. You mash that on top of what I'm doing now. I'm working in a publicly funded position. I'm, like you said, project manager over at Humble ISD. Sit on the bond advisory committee over there for passing bonds for the schools and for that district, and do those reviews, and we go through. And then, you know, you're dealing with the government procurement. You're dealing with public funds and public projects, and you have no choice but to be transparent.
Yeah.
I mean, folks are in your business over at the county, but at a school district, they're really in your business.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's a great segue. I feel like everything I've done in my life has led up to this point. It felt right. And I remember when I made the decision, it wasn't just a me decision. It was a joint decision with my wife and family and
Sure. Yeah.
the kids. And I told her, I said, nothing's ever felt more right.
Yeah.
So I said, let's do it. And she said, she's got my back, and she's working just as hard, if not harder, in the background and behind the scenes, and God bless her. So
Right on. That's awesome. All right, man. We're moving along. Like, what area does a commissioner cover? Like, how far are the borders that you know? What is precinct 4? I heard you say 105. That's out towards Cleveland.
yeah,
Right.
it's big.
Yeah.
So this is a big county. Montgomery County as a whole is big, but
Yeah.
precinct 4 goes from basically Kingwood to Cleveland to 242 and 45, basically the Woodland Shenandoah there, back over to Conroe. You know,
Okay.
it makes a nice little rectangle square, and it's huge, man. It's a lot of territory to cover. Last I saw, I think it said there were 848 miles of road to cover in this county. That's a lot.
That is.
Round up, I don't know if we've taken over some of the neighborhoods that have moved over and onto county now, so you can probably just round up to 900 miles of road.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, very large area. So,
Right on.
Border, Buchanan, Splendora, Security, Midway, and then, like I say, you get up into the 242, Harper's Preserve, Harper's Landing, and Chateau Woods, and Tamina, all in that area. And
Yeah.
going back around to Granger Land,
Right.
and those areas back across the border. So, big area.
Yeah.
Lots, cut and shoot.
Right on.
Sorry if I meant anything out, but
Yeah.
Pat
It's a
Dillon's
big
on the
area.
forest. Yeah, you get
Yeah,
the
for
picture.
sure, man. Yeah, no, I got you. Anywhere and in between. If you're from around here, you probably already know what precinct 4 is. I'm just, you know, they've got a lot of people. We got a lot of people moving out here, man.
You'd be
You know,
surprised
and
that,
shit, man. You know.
We can't take for granted that people know. And since we're talking about how big of an area it is, people seem to be under the impression and think that, well, this commissioner's from here, so he's only going to focus on this area. You know, I hear all kinds of crazy.
Yeah, right.
rumors.
Yeah, like the past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we see a lot of,
Commissioner.
just if you see that now, you won't see it under my watch, I promise you. You can talk to any parent or kid I've ever coached in sports. I'm non-partial as far as my own kids on a team, and it'll be that same way when it comes to being commissioner, getting drainage or road work done or projects. You know, if it needs to be done, we're going to spread it out across the county and take care of what needs to be taken care of and just do what's right. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Transparency, communicating, and doing what's right.
Yeah.
So,
well, right on, man. What resources does a commissioner have as far as like other counties, and like getting help from the state and stuff like that? I heard you mention something on another podcast talking about bartering.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Whatever, again, trading and all this stuff and everything like that. Because like I mentioned before, when we were talking before, like you don't really know the type of resources that you have at hand until you get in there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like, you hear all these other people, they're making promises and this and all that stuff like that. I haven't heard one promise from you yet. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure you don't know what kind of, you're getting into. You know what I mean? All you're telling us is that what needs to be done and what you're going to address.
Yeah.
So like if you could expand on like some of the resources or whatever that like I guess the commissioner has. So you can't use that excuse like, well, look, I'm only one man or this or that. You know what I mean?
You won't get excuses out of me, first of all.
Yeah.
And I gotta correct you on one thing, because I have come out and said it on record. So I have made a couple promises.
Okay. All right.
I think I've made about 3.
All right.
We'll call it a promise.
Well, we're gonna hold you to that then.
Plan on tearing that vestibule out to where you can come in.
Okay.
Have a counter. We're
All
gonna
right.
open the counter
Okay.
back
All right.
up.
Yeah.
I plan on cutting down on those vehicles. Those will go to auction, and we're going to purchase fleet vehicles.
Okay.
And number 3, I've said it on record in another place, I won't take a raise while I'm in office. For the first term, for sure. I think the current staff has taken 2 in 3 years, 2 pay raises. One for sure, I'm pretty sure 2. And I'm not saying the guys won't get a raise at the county or anyone else.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm not.
Yeah, you're not for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Those seem like reasonable promises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Okay.
you're good.
All right, I have to bring this up. Like I just played the devil's advocate, I guess here, just from the person that's on the outside looking in, right? You have a lot of other friends that you went to high school with. You played baseball with them. You played football with them. I mean, you know what I mean? And it's a small town out here, and you keep in touch. You know what I mean? And some of you guys have went down the same road. You know what I mean? Chose to be on the school board or this and that, right? You got like a few of them, right?
Sure.
That are either they're holding a current position or they're running for a certain office, right? Okay, I've heard this a couple of times, and I could see how it could be deceived that way. And I want you to answer this question,
Sure.
or I guess address the question.
Shoot, brother.
Right. Everybody, there's an old saying out here, whatever, right? You got the old timers that hear, and I'm not going to name them by names, but there's like, good 3 or 4 guys or whatever, right? That are together that pretty much, they think or they try to run East County, right?
Sure.
And they're called the Good Old Boys Club, right? Well, they're getting up on an age and stuff like that or whatever. A couple of them's, retired and all this and like that, right? Well, like I said, from the outside looking in, you see these guys, you see yourself along with a couple of other buddies from that you went to high school with, whatever like that. It could be perceived as, is this the new Good Old Boys Club?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
So I'll start off by saying the Good Old Boys Club is the problem with where we're at right now.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I think that's what people are afraid of.
And they should be, rightfully so.
Yeah.
And that's why I hope everybody goes and votes now and gets rid of the Good Old Boy Club. And anybody that knows me knows well enough the type of person I am.
For sure.
I'm pretty hard not to get along with. I'll get along with everybody. I'm open, and the only way to handle this ethically and morally is to be an open book, and let people know what's going on. Yeah. So as far as buddying up with anybody, I'm proud of anybody who's stepping up or answering a call to try to lead or to take on a role or another capacity in their spare time. But I don't own a construction company, a logging company,
right?
Any kind of company that would set me up to profit here or set somebody else up to profit off of this public position. And I think when people think of good old boy system or network, that's what they're talking about.
It's definitely a big conflict of interest, a huge conflict of interest.
So there are some serious conflict of interest right now out there.
Yeah, no, yeah, right. And that's what I'm saying. I think I've, like I said, from the people that I've talked to, and they're like, man, this looks like it's just another round. You know what I mean? But just 20 years younger or 30 years younger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, let me tell you guys a quick story real quick. And this is improvised. We didn't even go over this or anything. A couple years ago, probably 2-3 years ago, I was out pressure washing my driveway, right? And I just had just the wand going back and forth with a 2-3 inch, sprayer and all that or whatever. Well, I got pissed off because it was in the middle of the heat, whatever, and I was taking a break, and I posted something on Facebook, right? And then of course, everybody's, laughing or whatever, giving me a hard time and all that, whatever, right? Well, this was, like I said, this was a couple years ago. He wasn't even trying to run yet or nothing like that, whatever. Mr. Matt Gray, he messaged me through Messenger and was like, hey man, you're doing that the wrong way. And I was like, ha ha ha, yeah, whatever. He goes, next time you're doing that, because I was already done. And he goes, next time you're doing that, call me and I'll bring over that big circular thing. That takes like, pad, whatever, 3 swipes and you're done.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, well, thanks for telling me when I'm already done, asshole. But you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Like, you didn't have to do that. We hadn't seen each other in probably since like high school or, something like that. You know what I mean? But for you to just hit me up on Messenger like that, you know what I mean? I just, that speaks volumes to me.
I genuinely want to see people do well.
Yeah.
And excel in their lives and career and,
Yeah.
Just make it. I love seeing people be successful here from East Montgomery County, from the area we grew up in and from high school. So if I ever have an opportunity to help out, I try to, or at least give some advice if it's a mistake I've already made.
Yeah,
especially.
Right.
So, I appreciate you sharing that. And that's the approach I take with everything. And I'll go back and say this. I think we've had EMC baseball for 40 years, over here. I brought home the first Dixie Little League World Series this past summer coaching. And, it wasn't like we just lucked out and won. I mean, my gosh, the time.
Yeah, right.
Input and the kids. And it was something I'll never forget. And I think the parents and the kids will never forget. But, anything I do, that's just what you're going to get out of me. You're going to get 110%, whether it's Little League Baseball, whether it's T-ball or majors or just anything. I'm going to try to help, and we're going to do our best. And with that being said, I don't sit around and say I've got the highest cognitive levels in the room.
Right.
I do make it a point to lead, and I'll be vocal if there's something to say, but it's about having the right resources and getting the right people and being a leader. And I'm probably getting a little bit off topic here, but as commissioner, we talked about what does the commissioner do. That's the nuts and bolts of it. To me, the commissioner is the figurehead of the area as well. My job as commissioner is to work with the school district, to work with the school superintendents, get their input for road bonds. Let's alleviate this traffic around the school areas, around the elementary schools, around the high schools and middle schools. I should be putting input on their school bonds. Where are you buying property at? Let me share these plans with whatever the future growth, whatever we're projecting for that area, that school, or those plans. And that's what a commissioner is to me, working with MSED and all those guys to help with community planning, to put input on it. Your sports associations, your fair association. I want to work with those guys, get the word out. I want to throw the biggest rodeo we've ever had in Texas here in New Caney. I'm here. I'm here for you. If I'm in the seat, we're going to throw the kitchen sink at everything. Yeah. And try to make it right and make this the best community that it can be. And get the right people where they need to be, put the right input in, and, just make it a great place for me, you, our parents, our friends, kids, grandkids, all that. And like I said, I've got a long history here, and I've got 4 kids, and don't plan on going anywhere. So it's I'm passionate about it. If you can't tell.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, no, I think you tackled it. Like I said, like, I kind of got off topic talking about the Good Old Boys Club, but it's like, what resources like does a commissioner have as far as like other counties and states? Well, like, you just answered it pretty much.
So yeah, that's some of it. And then he's got a there's a budget. There's a lot of equipment. We've got the gradles. I've got the maintainers, the dump trucks, and the equipment and the manpower, to take care of these parks, to make sure we got nice ball fields. I want to work with these associations, and why don't we start pumping some money into this local economy? Work with these guys and get some of these big Dixie World Series tournaments or other type of World Series tournaments here.
Yeah.
I mean, the local businesses will just thrive.
Oh yeah.
And
right.
We don't have to go beg people to move here or come create a business here. I mean, this place is growing so fast, Chris.
Yeah, no, I see it. Well, then to touch back on the sports thing and the rodeo and stuff like that. I'm tired of having to drive 45 minutes to Reliant or 30 minutes to the Woodlands to go play ball.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I'm like, it'd be nice to have something in the backyard.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I plan on making those parks something like they've never been before. Over at the football fields, getting them draining off properly. You're going to have a lot of resources with me. Those baseball fields, the parking at the rodeo arena. We've got issues with the rodeo. They took the Fair Association's office. We got to get those guys back set up. The parking terrifies me at the baseball fields.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things when I'm ever a coach is watch your kids, because little kids and all the cars, I mean, it just scares me to death. It's like, watch my kids, I'll be watching yours. Let's be your brother's keeper. And we've got that overflow parking right there that we need to open up. The right people just haven't talked yet.
Right.
So and I'm wanting to be the conduit. I can be the conduit because obviously no one else is. So.
And we're sitting here talking about like what resources do you have?
Yeah.
I mean, you're a giant resource, or the commissioner should be a giant resource for everyone.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Especially with $68 million.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, the budget they have, and then it's all about relationships, just like any other business. And so often I see these politicians, local politicians, or wherever, what have you, they hug up and do all these great photo ops. Well, if you're that good of friends, man, why do we still have these issues? Why can't you make a call and get this expedited and make this happen over here?
Yeah, right.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. And if you get me as a commissioner, you will have a squeaky wheel on the state and on TxDOT and those guys.
Yeah.
Because we're behind over here, pretty far behind. And some of these areas, man, like I'll touch on like 2090 over there, coming out of Plum Grove and all that, and those folks trying to get over. My gosh.
Yeah, they're just getting mad over there.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, one area I wanted to touch on, besides social media, how can you be more in touch with the people, right? Because like right now, I drive around and stuff like that or whatever, I don't see that many changes in as long as the previous commissioner's been in, and they're like, well, go to his website or go to Facebook or this, whatever. I shouldn't have to go search to see the changes that's happened here, you know what I mean? Or to see him. You know what I mean? Or see what his latest update is and all this and like that. I should be able to see it. You know what I mean? Like whenever Reinhardt was in, I used to work when I was working at Royal Purple. I was working locally. Yeah. I work in Conroe now, but I'll take I'd go to eat lunch at Fat Boys right there on Community Drive. Right? Every time I went in there, he was there. Yeah. Right? He'd get up, come over, say hi to me, or vice versa. Whatever, and I'd be sitting there, whatever, and then people just walk in, and they go over there and they bend his ear. You know what I mean? So I could only imagine, how long he stayed there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure he just went there for 30 minutes to an hour to eat, and I'm sure he probably stayed there for 3 or 4 hours talking to their, listening to their problems or whatever. You know what I mean? Not like, hey, make an appointment or this and that.
I'm going to give a little snippet of information before I answer that fully. So something you may not know or the audience may not know.
Yeah.
is I didn't just wake up one day and decide to read in the paper, oh, well, this is what a commissioner does. Oh, tick, I'd be good at that. I've got to qualify for that. Went to school, so I'd be good at this. Good project manager. Heck, that's a perfect fit. No, my dad worked for the county for 30 years.
Yeah.
So when they were working by, I'd stop by and get lunch on the maintainer and equipment, or if they were out on a patch truck, whatever. So I just grew up around that, and I remember the elections every 4 years, ever since I was a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got older, a little bit older, close to being a teenager, somewhere in that age range, we moved into town right there in New Caney. We actually lived next to the county barn. So I was right there, and if you listen to Ed talk, you know, we knew each other well just from me spending so much time there living next door.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Well, it means that I knew all the guys at the county. I still know a bunch of the guys at the county from then, and I know what it's supposed to work like. I even worked at the county in high school during the summers.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a county employee. So I think with all that and that understanding and growing up around it and knowing what it's supposed to look like, and then having the experience I have and looking out further than next week or tomorrow or the work orders that are coming in, and having an actual plan is what you're getting at, or that's what I'm interpreting. What's the plan? That's how we communicate. We communicate a plan. You know, we provide an interactive map. We're going to be working out in this area because they're developing here. And since we pulled the permits and know where the developers are at, we're going to go do all the drainage in that area. So at least it's draining off, and those people that have been there for generations or all these years, they're not going to flood the first time it rains.
Right.
That's a plan. That's what you want. You want communication. You want a weekly update from your commissioner. You don't want just some staff member typing out a list this long because it's election time.
Yeah.
You know, for leading up to it. And one thing that I plan on implementing, I guess this will make a promise number 4, but an open forum or an open floor, an opportunity for the community to come in and discuss any issues or what's going on at their place, or, you know, just find out what's going on. You know, not just a gripe fest, but an information session, you know, to where me or my staff can sit there and present out what projects we've accomplished, what projects are coming up. Here's the plan. This is incomplete. We're still working on this. Just giving an update, a community update on the job, the budget, where we're at, and then open it up for questions or comments. You know, a quarterly meeting. This needs to be run. I don't want to get all Trumpy here, you know, but it needs to be run like a business.
Yeah.
We got enough government. You know, you see how the government's running now. Let's tighten this up, man.
Yeah.
Let's tighten it up and run it like a business and make it happen and be accountable. That's transparency. That's what I want. That's why I'm running, because that's what I want.
Right.
I'm trying to set the bar for what I want. And when I get done doing that, and I've had my fill of being commissioner, and the more qualified person steps up, I hope they can take it and make it even better than what I do.
Yeah.
You know, take it and make it better.
Right.
Don't just do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's cool, man.
that's my plan for communication and being there. And like I said, opening that up to where you can come in, meet with me. Of course, social media is great, websites, but get an update from the actual commissioner. I'll be out at the baseball park. I'm raising kids. I'm at the high schools. I'm at the game.
Yeah.
Come on, talk to me.
Yeah.
I go grocery shopping. I spend money in the community at the restaurants and getting my hair cut.
For sure, yeah.
And stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm here. I'm here to stay. God willing.
Yeah, for sure. Right on, man. That'll work. Any topics that you want to address?
Oh, man. Yeah, all of it. You know, I know we've touched on it a lot, but on most of them, and to some degree, but the 4-day work week, you know, that's a big one. I'm real big on resumes and qualifications and experience. and I'm not talking about you guys running the equipment. You're obviously qualified and got the experience. I'm talking about management teams and front office staff. I'm not a buddy type guy. You were asking about good old boy club. That ain't me. You can't manage people.
Right.
You can't set the expectations for your cousin or for your buddy and hold them accountable like you would someone with a purely business relationship that you need to hire.
Right.
And that's what I'm looking for. I want people that are hungry, that got a chip on their shoulder, and they're ready to get some work done. You know, that we can work and be cohesive and have fun and just make it happen. So, 4-day work week, qualifications. You know, like I said, I'm big on those type of personnel. The spending, the vehicles, the 2015 road bonds, $68 million for these projects that are incomplete.
Right.
When we had all that $68 million just sitting there and not being worked on, Old 105 took priority. Why did Old 105 take priority?
Yeah.
Who lives down there?
Right. Yeah.
So do your own research and find out. But that's what I've got an issue with, is that kind of stuff. I want to get in and tackle the big projects. And like I said, work with the community leadership. Be available, be visible. And, we're growing so fast. We've got to try to manage and steer this growth. I hadn't even talked about the development. My God. Every time I turn around, I drive somewhere from one week to the next. It's clear cut. I mean, it's a free country. If you buy it, you get to do it. But who's approving some of this stuff?
Yeah.
I just saw where there was an approval last week for someone to develop in a wetland in a 10-year floodplain. Who's signing off on this? Who approves this stuff?
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, and we don't know about it until it's too late.
Yeah.
So it's already approved,
How many stories you hear where it's not like it's a myth or a hearsay or a rumor that, they're building up this high. Go drive out in front of Splendora High School. See how high that's built up. You go over Doc Collins. This is Splendora. This is the stomping grounds right there.
Yeah.
Go across the street to Huff Road. They're built up this high. And from here to that wall right there, which isn't that far, there's homes. These people are terrified.
Yeah.
Nobody's holding them accountable, cutting swells or any of that. And it's not my job as commissioner to go do that for them or to work with them. But who I will work for is you, the taxpayer. I'll know they're developing there. We go and we make sure it's draining out in that area where they're going to be developing,
Just being proactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw pictures today over off Porter Lane, over in Porter Heights. They're just destroying roads, pulling equipment through there. They're going through where they're not supposed to be going through.
Yeah.
And I was at a meeting and the current commissioner, let's call it what it is, so we're going to spend $170,000 and we're going to get DOT officers. Then I'm going to put the men in black over there patrolling all the time. We're going to stop them. And then, get this is the funny part. I was there because I'm a property owner in that subdivision, so I went to hear what was said and said, Matt, you're running for commissioner, what would you do? And boy, did I appreciate that opportunity. I said, well, I would pull the permit and see who it is, and I'd go talk to the developer.
Yeah.
And then I'd invoice them, because you're busting the culverts and you're busting the road. And the taxpayer, you, me,
yeah,
we're the one that's got to foot the bill and keep repairing this and using our manpower to repair that. And so anyway, they've got performance bonds and insurance bonds and all that stuff when they're doing this work that's submitted through the county. You go pull that and invoice it back. If that kind of behavior continues, you cut the head off the snake.
Right.
And needless to say, I didn't get asked any more questions that night about how I would handle something as commissioner, but that's how I would handle as your commissioner. My answer is not spend more tax dollars. My answer is not use up the police force or the police resources to manage developers. This is a fast-growing area. We've got problems. We've got issues, just like anywhere else that's growing, serious issues that our law enforcement needs to focus on. Besides doing that, or I don't know how else to, I can't say it nice, so I'm just not going to say it all. But that's not how you do it. So,
Right, I got you, man. You got accountability. Somebody's got to be accountable.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be accountable for all this shit, you know.
Yeah, you got to be accountable, but you gotta be able to think outside the box and detach from the
That's
situation.
proactive. You got to be proactive for sure.
Let's not just spend money every time there's something. Let's try to address it.
Well,
Let's go above and beyond here a little bit and fix the situation, not throw a Band-Aid on it.
right. All right. Well, when is voting? So these people know it's coming up, right?
Voting is very soon. It's Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So go show your love for me on Valentine's Day.
Right on.
And put your vote in for Matt Gray. Early voting starts February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And it goes through that week and the following week. And let me see, that's going to be the 14th through the 18th.
Yeah.
You don't vote on Saturday and Sunday, so the 14th through the 18th. And then the following week, the 21st through the 25th, take the 28th off, and then they'll set up at the polling locations.
Right.
And the election day will be on March 1st. I'm running on the Republican ticket. This is a Republican primary. You'll see my name right there on top, Matt Gray. Click the bubble and let's rock and roll, man. It's important, guys. I've been going through all the numbers and the analytics and the data. And for all of you watching, here's my challenge to you. Get out and vote. Call 20 or 30 friends. Call everybody in your phone book. Go vote. You may not think I'm the best guy for it. You may not like me. You may love me. I don't know. Go vote. Either way, it's your American duty and your American responsibility to go vote. A lot of people died and sacrificed. You're a service member. Thank you for your service to this country, Chris. And there's been a lot of sacrifices made so we can do that.
Yeah.
But just looking at the numbers and the analytics and the data, we, as in us, our demographic, our age group demographic, we're not showing up at the polls. So a lot of you talk the loudest about it, but you don't even show up and vote.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Just make a bunch of noise.
Yeah.
Show up and vote. Go vote. Call everybody you know. Take them to go vote. And I'm asking for your vote. I think I'll make you proud as your commissioner. I want to make you proud. I want to do this area right. So it's very important. It's more important now than ever. So if you don't vote, don't complain. Don't talk about the issues around here. Don't talk about the state or federal issues. You don't vote.
Yeah.
So that might be a little forward, a little hard up, but hey, sometimes you just gotta say it how it is, and that's how it is.
Yeah. Now to be honest, that's the only reason why I vote for the president election. You know what I mean? Like the only this past election, which I'm sure you agree with me or whatever, it was just like it wasn't really an election at all. It was a cheat fest pretty much, right? And it's kind of taken away from my, I guess, American pride, I guess. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I was just like, wow, I can't believe that they just let that happen. You know what I mean? Like the only reason why I do vote is so I can have a voice, so I can complain and all this and everything like that. And then plus I'm in the oil and gas industry, so I gotta vote Republican. You know what I mean? Whether I like it or not, that's the way I gotta go. You know what I mean? But anyway, you got any last words or anything like that? We normally do a top three, and my top three was top three things that you plan on doing if or when you get into that position. But I think you've already pretty much named them, tackled them.
Yeah, a lot of campaign and a lot of this is a lot of repeating yourself. Yeah. I figured that out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change, it doesn't change when I go talk to somebody tomorrow or from what I said yesterday. It still comes down to leadership, planning, executing, and communicating. Now I can sit here and rave on and on about roads and mobility and bonds and drainage and mosquitoes and whatever, the parks and these different things. But all that really, to me, comes down to leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership, transparency, communication, and making that plan and executing, following through. There's nothing more important than following through on what you say you're going to do, having a plan and following through. And just plan on taking a very practical approach. I mean, it's not rocket science. And that's it,
Yeah.
I'm a conservative guy. I'm fiscally conservative. I'm socially conservative. And that's just me. But honestly, I think it's a bipartisan position.
Yeah.
It don't matter what you vote. If your beliefs are the same as mine or not, you're not Christian or you are Christian, that's your prerogative. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get a new road, or I want your house to flood, or I'm not going to work on the drainage. So, just food for thought, guys. I guess my parting words are get out and vote. Be the difference. Let's get out and show them we do have a voice and we do care and we're paying attention to what's going on. And let's keep it. It's changing fast around here. It'll never be the same. So let's let's try to let's manage that growth.
Right on. Well, you heard it from him. Get out and vote. And he talked about our demographic, our age group, and all that stuff like that. Dude, like our age group isn't lazy, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just go get out, just go out and vote, man. You know what I mean? It's like, especially in early voting. During the early voting, right before they close or right when they first open or whatever, it takes 5 minutes. I promise. Just stop being lazy. Go vote.
Actually, I should have said this, Chris. Speaking of voting, during the early voting times, you can go at any of the early voting locations. I wish I had the list on me. Dang it.
Yeah.
I'd read it off each location, but Bull Sal's Park, early voting, the YMCA right there off Creekwood, and I want to say, I think I know what it is, but I can't remember exactly the third location of Precinct 4. But any of the early voting locations in Montgomery County, you can go when you put your license in. Your Precinct 4 leadership will come up, or candidates, and you can vote it anywhere during early voting. Now, March 1st, you'll have to go to your polling location.
Yeah, you got to go to your, once you're determined. I tell you what, like, you get a whole list together or something like that for me. Where I got about 4 or 5 more guests, weekly.
Perfect.
And get it to me or whatever. And at the end of the segment or whatever like that, I'll shout out to you and stuff, and tell people to go out and vote.
Awesome.
And how where they can and what all that stuff, all that.
Yeah.
So for sure.
Hey, call your friends, call your mom, call your dad, call everybody. Tell them to go vote Matt Gray, East Montgomery County. I love you. I'm here for you. Chris, I appreciate you having me on, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You're doing a great thing.
Oh, man, thanks. I appreciate it, man.
Shedding light on local issues,
Yeah.
local people, local personalities.
I'm local. I'm here. I was born and raised here. I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to keep money. I'm trying to keep the money here, man. You know what I mean? As opposed to going elsewhere or whatever. You know what I mean? And I'd like to see my money go. I'd like to see my money go towards something that I can see. You know what I mean? As opposed to, watching $68 million just kind of dissolve on, stop signs and dugout ditches.
And inflation.
Right, yeah, right.
So I'm with you. I agree with you. You're a great guy.
Well,
like I said, another New Caney alumni.
Yeah.
If you don't know Chris that well, great guy, great family. Can't say enough about your mom and dad. And man, you're just doing an awesome thing here. So I enjoy the podcast, and
I appreciate you coming on, man.
What a pleasure to be here, man. So God bless.
All right, guys. Till next week. Stay tuned or whatever. I'll update you with my next guest or whatever it's going to be next week. I got to confirm them first, but till then, stay tuned, stay safe, stay solid, and keep your circle small.
That's it.